Oh, I gotta mute me. No.
Albucci.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
How you doing? That was a shorter intro than I remember it being.
We shortened it.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're actually going to be able to educate you. Tonight, we're talking about Super 100s through Super 150s. What are they, and what do they mean to you as a buyer, whether it's for female clothing or men's clothing? So, so really, I get this question a lot.
Okay.
You know, why are Super 150s better? Why aren't they better?
Well, let me start with something very fundamental. What does that mean? 150s, Super 150s.
So if you go into a store, a lot of guys will tell you, "Oh, Super 150s is the stitch count,
Like sheets.
like it's 150 stitches per inch."
Okay.
That's not really the case. Super 150s are the microns of the fiber.
Okay.
So it's actually the thickness of the fiber.
Okay.
So a lot of people get excited about I bought a Super 200. The problem with a lot of those fabrics is the fabric is so fine that it doesn't hold up. So as soon as you sit, it wrinkles.
Okay.
You can't dry clean it. So Super 150s are really the most commonly known fabric when you're purchasing a suit.
All right.
So here's what I tell and explain to people. So there's different variations of 150s, right? 150s can come from China, Australia, or Italy.
Okay.
And Italy really makes the better fabrics. And not being
Because you're Italian.
Right.
Right.
it's really what they call the hand, right?
Okay.
So the Italians are very well known for two things: their pasta and their fabrics.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. And their guns. They make good guns.
They do make good guns.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are purchasing suits that are 150s now, and they're like, "Oh, I only paid $300 for this suit." The reality is, it's not a real, true Super 150. So what happens in the industry is, did you ever go for a slice of pizza down the shore?
Yeah.
All right. Did you have a slice of pizza up here Tastes totally different.
Right.
So you really get that in wools. Italy has really good water. Australia has really good water, but China doesn't. So what happens is to make that fabric as close as possible to an Australian or Italian wool, they actually put a wax on it.
Okay, so the water that's used in the process of processing the wool, or the
In the process of looming the wool.
Oh,
so,
looming, yeah.
So what goes into play in the process of wool is, you know how what you don't have any hair, but
Thanks for pointing that out.
but the more you brush your hair, it gets finer and finer. So you're basically brushing out the grit
Well, that's how I got this way,
because you kept
because I kept brushing it.
right. So you just brushed it all
Sit
out,
there in the mirror all day.
and now it's a lot smoother.
Yeah.
So the process is you really have to go through a looming process.
Okay.
So that in that looming process, it's actually going underwater and being brushed as it's going underwater.
Okay.
So these are things that a lot of the public don't know. And when they buy a suit, the assumption is that I'm buying a Super 150, so I'm buying a great product. And that's not the case, right?
So you want to buy an Italian Super 150 or an Australian Super 150?
And that's a good analogy. But here's the thing: if you want a lavish look, like a something that has more of a sheen to it,
Yeah.
so you're going to actually go with the Italians.
Okay.
All right. If you want something a little bit more coarse and rough, you're going to go to the Australian wools.
Okay. All right.
Now, a lot of people think that, oh my God, it's Italian wool. It was grown in Italy. That's not the case. What happens is 90% of your wools come from Australia.
Right. The big sheep farmers down there. Yeah.
Right. And Italy bids on them.
Okay.
So I'm a steak lover, right? And you can have Ruth's Chris, or you can have
Peter
Luger's, right? Or you can have a steak from a steakhouse. So what's fed to the sheep makes a difference in the wool.
Okay.
There's actually sheep farms where sheep are only allowed to eat certain foods. They have to stay within a certain area. They don't let them touch each other. And it sounds crazy, but if a
Sounds lonely.
it does. But a lot of that stuff comes into the play of why wools are so expensive.
Okay, so now it has nothing. So the Italian wool, it's not so much that it's processed in it, because we know the sheep aren't being raised in Italy, but they're processing it in Italy, right?
Right.
And so, but it's not the processing and the water as much as it is where the sheep are originally raised.
Correct.
Okay.
And now there's a big fabric out there called vicuna now. So vicuna is really like another sheep, but the strands are very long. So on a sheep, it's 36 inches when you stretch it out.
Okay.
Vicuna is 40 to 46 inches.
Okay.
So most jackets are 42 max inches long on the body. So now let's talk about going to the bed sheet, right? So you buy bed sheets that have, they're very soft, right? And they're like, wow, this is 180 or 1800 thread count and so on and so forth. It has to do with the yarn that they're using as well.
Right.
So if you ever take your hand and brush your hand on the vicuna and you just keep rubbing it, your actual fingers start to turn numb. That's how fine the fabric is.
Nice. Okay.
So like if you feel this, now this is a Super 180's,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
right? But this is out of Italy.
Okay. What is this one?
This is a 110's if I'm not mistaken, because
110's,
this is one of my.
But
one of
also
my-
Italian.
yes.
Okay.
So one thing I believe in, and I had that question today. Someone asked me, oh well, I want to get a suit for 600. And I'm like, I just don't do those because you're going to come back to me and say, you know what, the suit just didn't hold up. So I vowed to only stay with Italian and Australian wools. It's a little bit pricier, but the quality of the garment lasts a lot longer.
Okay.
So the takeaways from really this are, you know, when you're buying a garment and you're looking at Super 100s through Super 150s, find out where the fabric actually comes from. So make sure if it comes from China, it's going to be less expensive.
Where does China get their wool?
They're basically creating their own, but they're getting a lot of the what I would say the seconds. Did you ever go to a store and you buy a shirt and it's really inexpensive, but it has flaws in it?
Yeah, yeah.
So they'll buy a
like
lot
those.
of the. So they'll buy a lot of the second. They call them seconds.
Okay, okay.
Right. So as the auction goes off for the wools, that's how they buy their wools. They'll buy them. They're starting to loom now in China. But again, you can't loom like Italy and Australia because you just don't have the water. The sunlight makes a big difference.
Okay.
A lot of that really does come into play.
Okay. So there's a lot of things that go into the wool itself, and I mean from the minute the sheep is born basically all the way to the moment the wool is on
Right.
the loom and processed and everything like that. And all right. That's
And it's funny, like cashmere actually comes from goats.
right.
You know, so there's wools all over the place. There's alpaca. There's so many different variations of fabric.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's not just from sheep. You can get them from all different types.
All
of things,
different,
Yeah.
all different types.
But what would you? What is the best one?
Look, so I'm a firm, like I love Loro Piana.
Okay.
Loro Piana's cashmere is the best. The best garment you can get out there is something that has a mixture of wool, cashmere, or wool and silk. When there's a blended fabric, it tends to lay nicer. It has more luster. It looks more luxurious.
Okay.
And what they do, and we're going to get into this. One of my shirt manufacturers is coming into do a show with us. It's 2-ply, right? So what they'll do is a certain amount of silk or a certain amount of cashmere gets twisted into that fiber. So think about this: a Super 150, your hair is 70 microns thick.
Okay.
Now imagine a hair double that, how thin it's going to be. It's almost like a cobweb.
Okay.
Like you could barely see the yarnage because it's so thin. So I tell my guys, anything from a Super 130 to a 150 is a great area to be in. It holds its own, it's durable, it has the proper density, and it doesn't wrinkle as much.
Okay. Now, I'm a guy who, doesn't want to break the bank buying a suit. Without like, aside from coming to you, where am I going to find suits that have like 150 to 180?
That really depends on price range. So you're not going to get a decent suit under $1,000
Okay.
that is going to feel good, look good, and present well, and give you longevity.
Right.
You want a suit to carry you over 5 years.
Okay. So so I walk off the street into one of these stores that have suits. Chances are I'm not going to be getting anything close to what we're talking about today.
You will, but you're not going to get it for $600.
Okay. So, okay. Gotcha.
Like you can go and get a suit for $600 and they'll say it's a Super 150, but the reality is where does that wool come from? Where was it made? There's a lot of factors that go into why it costs so much for a suit. What price dictates for a suit, right? So
What? Give me some examples of.
Now, let's say a Xenia product, right? You can pay $1,700 for an opening end Xenia made in Mexico.
Okay.
If that suit is made in Italy, it's $3,000.
Is that because of the distance it has to travel to get here, or?
It's workmanship.
Okay.
It's what people are paid.
Okay. So it's all, yeah.
So, right, all of that comes into factor. But here's the sick part, right? Right now, Chinese are going over to Italy to learn how to sew. And then they're coming back to China. And they're their head tailors. The Italians are moving into China to now produce garments.
Okay.
So is it a good thing? No, but who's going to spend $3,000 on a suit
Right.
nowadays?
Right.
They're just not going to do it.
So what are when the Italians are going to China? What are they doing? Learning how to mass produce them?
No,
with
they're
slave
running
labor, or like what is?
No, the Italians are actually going and running the shops.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Their blue pencil, my factory is run by Italians,
All right. But it's in China.
but it's in China.
Okay. All right.
You can't. There's nothing you can do to keep the cost factors to a decent price.
Right. Okay.
What we're trying to do, and this election is going to be a big possibility. And we were discussing. I was working with the government. We need to bring that manufacturing back here. But here's the crazy part. So if I buy a fabric from Italy to send it to my factory in China,
Right.
it actually cost $300 just to ship the product to China.
Okay.
So with that said, try and get fabrics from Italy to the United States, and it costs you $600 just to get the fabric here
Right,
for one
okay.
suit.
All right. So that's why we're getting up probably over $1,000 for a
Right.
cheap suit from Italy. Yeah.
From well, not even a cheap suit, but they're lower end.
Well, by
you know.
cheap I mean for Italian suits.
For Italian,
The lower priced suits would be at least $800 to $1,000.
you will never find a true Italian made suit for under $1,000.
Okay. But you will find it for $1,000.
You will find it for $1,000.
That's all I care about.
Yeah, no, definitely, without a doubt. So those are the things that really do come into play. Matt, what are you talking about? Those are the things that I really focus on getting. I know by getting people involved in trying to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
Okay.
But when it comes to the materials, the real takeaways are watch what you're buying, right? If you're getting a Super 150, make sure it's a Super 150. Make sure it's a full canvas garment.
How do you make sure if it's a Super 150?
It has to say it
On the tag.
on the tag. It has to say it.
So you hear things about people love this. Everybody's all about eating organic and all that stuff, right? But they say beware because just because it's labeled organic, you got to read the fine print because.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
is it the same way with these where
Yes.
it says made in Italy, but is there a way to tell if it's really an Italian suit?
You got to rip the garment apart. If you rip the garment apart, you can tell, right? Because there's product that's put inside the garment to make it. What happens a lot is what people will do is they'll buy a garment without the sleeves on it. So they ship the garment to the United States without the sleeves.
Okay.
Once you put those sleeves on, you can say it's made in America.
Ah, okay.
I don't like it. I love our country and I
Right.
want to do things for our country and put people back to work in our country. I don't think people that do that are honest, and
Right. It's like a technicality that they're not
it
being
really
totally
is.
honest.
It's definitely a technicality.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
So what I tell people is stay away from a lot of the materials that are above 150s. You don't need to go that high. If you want to go that high, make sure that your 180s are strictly from Italy, not definitely make America great again. What was I
Want to
saying?
make sure they're from Italy, not
Make sure they're from Italy, and you'll know if they're from Italy because of the price point.
okay.
Right? Like a Super 180 out of Italy is going to cost you just in material alone almost $3,000.
Jesus.
Then you have to make the garment.
Yeah. So you're looking at what, like a $10,000 suit when it's all said and done?
You're pretty close to it. $7,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a lot.
But you sell those very few and far in between. I had guys who were buying suits at Brioni, spending $10,000. Now they're spending $5,000
Okay.
because they realize that
It's got like after over $1,000. What's the difference? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna notice that you've got a $10,000 suit on versus a $3,000 suit?
when you have that kind
You're
of
gonna
liquid
notice.
outcome, right? When you have that type of liquid, you don't care. You feel it, and you know.
Right. Oh, okay. So it's like a status symbol. It's more for
Yeah.
yourself than it is for anything else.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, look, 90% of my clients are in the $1,200 to $1,800 range, which is a sweet spot, right? Because you're getting a very good Italian product in the 150s, and you're getting it made for yourself.
Okay.
So a lot of my guys will focus on that price range, which is a great price range. You don't need to go above that unless that's what you want to do, right? Some people want that status of a 180. They want it. They know what they want. What I also tell people is stay away from name brands. You know, there's only a certain amount of mills in the world, and they're all producing for other companies.
Right.
It's just a different label.
Right. Right.
You know,
Okay.
so I mean, you could put a Xenia label or other labels in garments, and they're buying. Xenia sells wools to other retailers,
Right.
retail names, Armani, Tom Ford. Then Vitalba Barris is another mill that sells to these guys, and they're just the mill house or the fabric house that sends the fabric to the manufacturer to make, and it's just throwing a little label in it.
So it's better to go with something like Buco Couture as opposed to a big brand name.
I tell people don't be a label whore.
Right.
You know, you can't go to Giorgio Armani.
No, exactly.
Complain
Right.
direct to
Yeah.
him, right?
No, I mean, if I was, flush with cash and I was going to be in the market to get a tailor-made suit, I'd rather go with somebody like you as opposed to the big brand name, because to me it means something more that, somebody fitted me and made this suit just for me. I know like,
But it has your personality with it.
right.
You know what I'm saying? When you pick out those wools, when you pick out the linings and the buttons, that has your personality
Right.
with it.
Right.
You know, and we specialize in that. We want to get into your personality. So when we make you the clothes and we put you in the right wools, you can walk around and stand up straighter, and we make you that guy, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Do we have any
You want to look at
questions?
Yeah, we've got some people.
We got a
here.
lot of feedback. Do we have any questions?
Brian wants you to moon him. So, and Al wants you to wave to him. Wave to Al.
They both want it. What's up, guys? Thank you for coming in.
I think our friend Matt DeFeedy drinks like 3 martinis before he logs into our show and just goes nuts with
Yes.
his comments. So let's see. I'm gonna submit.
Yeah, because I couldn't read
Al
it.
wants to see what a $10,000 suit looks like.
You'll never see it.
Maybe we could do a separate video sometime of what that would look like, or what would have to go into that. Like, how about like where you would start?
Where we would start?
Yeah.
Well, it would be the wool. It would be a Super 180s. It would be a handmade garment.
Right.
So there's
So
a
you're
difference.
just going to get raw materials, just
That's it.
wool, like just a sheet of fabric.
And of course, it has its design in it. But there's 3 versions of how a suit's sold and made. Let's say.
Okay.
That's going to be another segment. We're going to talk about bespoke versus made to measure versus custom versus ready
I'm
made.
glad you said that, because I have always wanted, and I'll save it. You don't have to answer it now. I've always wanted to know what bespoke is.
It's a world of difference. It doesn't even happen.
What the hell does it mean? The word itself, what does it mean?
People throw it around and it disgusts me. You need to be a tailor, right?
Okay.
I used to make clothes by hand. You need to be a tailor and know how to make clothes. But people throw it around as a word.
In the pure sense, what does it mean?
And bespoke is a handmade garment from scratch, and you probably go through about 3 raw try-ons.
Okay. What's the bastardized version that people are using when they say it all the time that you can't stand? What are they?
They're using bespoke.
But what am I?
Oh, they're using
How are they
made to
misusing it?
measure.
What are they saying? Made to measure?
Yeah, they're
so
doing
like,
made to
You go
measure.
to Men's Warehouse and suddenly whatever you get there is bespoke, or no? That's
No.
no. That's
They're made to
adjusted.
measure.
okay.
That it's
So what's the difference between what exactly is made to measure?
made to measure is a scaled down garment. So made to measure is taking a 42 and tweaking it, but you're limited to what you can tweak.
Made to my measurements.
Right.
Is what that means. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Custom, just to might as well get a little bit into it. Custom is just is more of a body measurements.
Okay.
So now we make a pattern for you on your body measurements.
Okay.
Bespoke is a raw try-on. We still use your body measurements, but we put a jacket on you that's like just canvas.
Okay.
It's not made.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Okay.
And
So
we pin it, mark it, Then it goes back to the factory and gets done all by hand. The only stitches that don't get done by hand are your straight stitches. Everything else around the armhole, around the collar, around the crotch, around the belt line. Any part that moves on the jacket gets all done by hand.
And how long does that take? The whole process?
It's really not as long as you think. Probably about, for a jacket, 72 straight hours. Now, here's the crazy part. There's 72,000 plus hand stitches in a bespoke garment.
Oh my God.
So that's something
is that literally one person sitting there doing it by hand, or
that's
really,
one
it's not
person?
like a team
all
of people?
Nope. That's one person by hand on a constant sewing motion.
That's crazy.
So
that is crazy.
I think we're due for a break.
Yeah, we are due for a break. When we come back, we're going to do our first Love It or Lose It with Daniel M. And then right after that will be the Gentleman's Club. What are we talking about in the Gentleman's Club?
Yeah, so I see people on. We asked a question last week, and the question was, on a first date, do you go for a drink or do you go for dinner?
Drink or dinner? No. Drink or coffee?
No, drink or dinner.
No.
Do you take your first date on dinner, which could cost you $150?
No.
Or do you take them out for a drink? The very
I
first
tell her, go
date,
grab something at McDonald's and meet me at the park. That's what I tell my date.
one of my friends is like that. So we want you guys to weigh in. Make sure that we get your feedback right after this break, and really get pumped for
Get pumped for
Love
the
It or
Gentleman's
Lose
Club.
It
And
with
the yes.
Daniel M. and the Gentleman's Club.
Yeah. Sandy likes Burger King better.
I'll Big Mac it.
Maybe you have a great idea for a show but don't know how to do it.
Well, we can make it happen.
Email the New Jersey Podcast Guys at njpodcastguys@gmail.com.
Have you ever wished you were that guy people wanted to meet? Do you have things in your closet you move around but never seem to wear? Or shouldn't? Go take a look and then give us a call. Let an experienced clothier help you build confidence, style, and presence. We guarantee that if you call, we can make you that guy. Go to www.buco.us or call for your personal appointment 855-53-BUCO. That's 855-53-BUCCO.
Okay, so we're back and we've got Daniel M on the phone, and we're gonna turn it over to him, and then we're gonna come back and talk to him for a little bit. So go ahead, Pete.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Very good. How are you, Dan?
Good. How you doing, Dan?
I loved learning about the sheep. I just have one question. If they don't touch each other, how do they create more sheep?
That's a good question.
That I don't know.
That is a good question, though. What do you mean they don't let them touch each other?
Well, they keep them at a distance.
Okay.
So,
Well, but how do they procreate?
I don't know. We'll have to ask them if they're
All right,
going.
yeah.
We'll have to ask
Well,
them
we'll
if
have to
they're
get a
going
sheep
for
farmer
dinner,
on.
for dinner or
I'm
coffee.
just going to get right into love it or lose it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So one of the things I notice all the time when I'm out and I'm dealing with people is fit and garment choices, and it's really on celebrities, on people on television. No matter where I go, I always just see things that just horrify me. The first thing that I want to show you guys is about fit. I think you have right up on your screen right now an example of fit, and you see on one side that relaxed, I'm comfortable kind of look. I just don't get that. That's just not a look that looks great. When you look to the other side, you can see a garment that's truly fit to the man. He looks more confident. He looks more stylish. It's just an awesome look. I love, and I'm sure a lot of the audience has seen the Jamie Foxx commercial where they've got 3 Jamie Foxx on the screen. And Jamie looks absolutely fantastic in his gray suit, which is why I picked this picture. And the other two gentlemen, if you look at them, the pants are too long, they're too big, everything's kind of slouchy. It's just not a way for people to look. That's definitely a lose it. Now let's take a look at some other celebrity things. If we can go to the next slide, you can see right here on Fox News, I mean, these are people on television, and with Fox Sports, I mean, I give athletes a lot of credit. They're very talented. They devote a lot of time to their body and looks and everything, but you know, they really need to get great fit clothes going on. So when I look at the Fox News picture, I see, you know, 4 very attractive people out there to give you information, and yet I only see one suit there that looks like it's fit. So let's take a look at some more celebrities. Let's flip to the next slide. And you'll see in our next picture that, are we able to go to the next slide, guys? Oh, there you go. I see I have a little lag on you guys. That's okay. So here's a great window pane suit, which is really hot for this season. And as much as I like to support pink, which I'm actually wearing pink today, you know, it's a great look, but there's a much better way to make this suit pop. So let's take a look at the do for this dome. Our next slide is when we pull that together and really go a little more monochromatic, when we've got a little texture, we've got a nice, you know, this great gray window pane suit. It really, really looks fantastic. Crisp white shirt, and then a textured tie. Rather than going with patterns or prints or even large colors, this stands out way more than a glaring color. This would be a do for me. So let's take a look at our next slide, which is really an overuse of color. Great fitted suit. Some great colors on this guy. However, it's just trying way too hard, trying so hard to get to draw attention. Where I can imagine looking at the cut of the suit would do it all in itself. So this is what I would consider a don't. But definitely, I'm sure you guys will agree, it's a lose it.
And you know what's funny is the color of this suit on the past 2 colors were like that suit is actually very, very hot. That color suit is very hot, but why would you wear green with it? It just kills it.
It's a great color suit. And they will fit properly, and they're definitely made suits, opposed to off the rack. However, the mistake that guys make most of the time, where they really have to lose it, is they're trying really so hard. And if you get a suit that fits properly and you pair it with the right things, and if we go to the next slide, you'll see you pair something. It's a simple window pane with a very, very simple tie and a crisp shirt. And then he's wearing like a great pocket square. If you want to really pop in a room, always put in a pocket square. Do an accented sock. You don't need to do that wild color. I mean, what a difference. This, to me, is elegance. It's stylish. It's fashionable. The other is just kind of loud. And I'll do a great example of using color correctly. Let's go to our next slide. So our next slide is using color correctly. You want to feel comfortable? Great. He's wearing a white jean. You want to feel stylish? He's wearing a window pane jacket. He's got a green tie on and a pink shirt. Now that's a great use of color. The colors are not screaming at you, yet they attract the eye and they scream confidence when you walk in the room. You guys agree?
Listen, I love that. And you know, you bring up pocket squares, Dan. I used to hate pocket squares. Now I feel like I can't live without them. I feel very colorful.
Yeah, you know, it's true. I mean, I come from the era of where you always carried a handkerchief. And somewhere along the way that got lost. And I love the idea of using a pocket square. Even if you're wearing a white shirt, just a white, nicely pressed linen pocket handkerchief in the pocket looks great. But all the great colors, I mean, all the fantastic tie and pocket square combinations, and even socks, pair them together.
Let me ask you a question, because I see this a lot, right? some guy like the pocket square I have on today, and everybody will see it again in a minute. But what I don't like is when guys wear a pocket square and a tie, but the color variations are so off. It's like to me, it's like you're trying to make something work, but it doesn't work.
Right. Well, it's. I mean, we both know it's really difficult sometimes to find things unless you're buying like some out of the box. Funny story. I was at an event a couple of years ago and I ran into someone and he complimented my tie and he complimented my pocket square and he said, I have such a hard time finding things that match. And his shirt, his tie, and his pocket square were all the exact same color. They came as a prepackaged. It was definitely a JCPenney purchase.
Yeah, you can't do that. And
Right.
what's funny is you got to watch those colored shirts because those shirts, you buy those less expensive shirts just to add color. It just kills it.
Yes, absolutely. I tell guys all the time, and I know you do as well, Carmen. It's like if you really want to stand out, just try and pull a color from the tie into your pocket square. It doesn't have to be the same pattern, but predominantly there should be some of the color that's in your tie in your pocket square. Or if you're wearing a blue suit, just a simple blue polka dot pocket square with a solid blue tie works absolutely great. The other thing I tell them is your shirt and your tie are really, that's your accent. You don't want to do like that picture we saw where the gentleman was wearing, the green and the blue and all that going on with that. But there's nothing wrong with the rule of thumb, big and small. A big print on the shirt or a stripe on the shirt, a small print on the tie. If it's a small on the tie, then larger or texture, on the opposite. You always want to do the contrast to what you're wearing. And that really, the shirt, tie, pocket square combination in a simple blue suit is what sets the man apart. It's the difference between loving it and have to lose it.
So, Daniel, who makes these rules up? All these rules about,
I'm sorry?
who makes these rules up? Like all the rules that you just listed about, this can go with that, but not with this and all that. Is it just because most people find a certain thing to look horrible and so everybody goes blech and we know that that's, a no, don't do that? Or how does it all work as far as the rules?
I think two things happen. So I think the first thing is that sometimes we just try a little too hard. So we see something and then we decide that we really need to try and make it, stand out and look like really. So Carmen, I can see you've got like a whole bunch of socks in front of you.
So I was asked to go get my fancy socks that I actually wear on a daily basis. So can we get like a nay or yay on this, Dan?
Well, we've got a little delay, so I'm just seeing you pick up the socks right now. But the first one that I see you holding, I actually have.
Okay.
I like that sock. It's a little tough. I generally will wear that sock with a navy blue suit.
Right.
But it's you have to stay really kind of simple with your shirt and then pop your tie. Go ahead. What else do you have? Let's see. I see your hand on the next one. And
it's actually blue and gold or blue and yellow. So
is
this
the
is
next
actually
one
very
blue and
popular.
yellow?
Yeah.
Looks like my grandmother's
Yes,
kitchen towel.
Oh, it's coming up in a minute.
I have that one
There
as
you
well.
go.
I love that one. I think that's a great sock. And what I like about it is the color is good. There's a lot of things you can match with it, and there's a lot of things you can do with it, but it's not screaming like the previous one.
Right.
Yeah, the previous one though. I mean, you really wear this?
Absolutely.
Really? What?
Oh, that's a different one. That one has purple in it.
Wait, which one do you wear?
This one has blue. I wear them all. This
wear
one has
these all?
Yeah, look, it has purple in it.
He wears
But-
them all at the same time.
And these actually I do really good with. Like everybody loves this in the
Yeah,
sweaters. and
that
everything.
I could get. Yeah, right, with the sweaters and everything like that. But
You just
this-
have to make sure your sweater matches.
Where do you
Yeah, I'm
wear
looking
this?
at
Ringling Brothers?
The multicolored argyle. I like that sock. I tend to wear that with more casual, like with a pair of jeans,
Right.
pair of nice loafers, and then the navy blue sport jacket or a linen jacket if it's summer. I like those looks. But I think, the key is don't overdo it. If you're going to really pop crazy wild socks, like what you're wearing right now, Carmen, with the solid shirt, and then you've got a great color tie on.
That's right.
You could pull in a great sock with that. I wouldn't do a print shirt, print tie, pocket square, and then a sock, and that becomes a little bit too much.
What socks are you wearing now, Carmen?
I don't want to show people. Oh, I went conservative today.
Oh, okay.
I went conservative.
You don't want to show that, but you'll show that and admit that you wear that stripe thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or do we have any more slides on the Love It or Lose It?
No, that was the last slide. No, we got one more, don't we?
Yeah. I think,
Nope.
Yep, we have. I'm sorry I took you off track, Dan. Everybody keeps talking about my socks, so I had to get my socks on.
That's quite all right. No, that's the last one. The white jeans with the brown, and the whole idea is to pull something together that looks elegant. You don't have to scream when you walk in the room. Let your presence announce you. That's the key to being that guy.
So with that said, what 3 takeaways can we get out of this?
Well, the most important thing is my 2 rules is that if you're not sure, talk to a professional. Guys, there's 2 things that guys do, and most guys do, is one is that they either try and imitate their friends, and I always say, who said your friend looks good anyway? And the second one is that usually, there's 3 people in their lives that make their decisions for them, and it starts with their mother, then it's their sister or their girlfriend, and then their wife. It's a very simple philosophy. It holds true in marketing. A guy uses Colgate, and when he moves out of the house, if he has a roommate and they use Crest, he uses Crest. And when a girl moves in, he switches to Ultra Bright. And, that's the way guys are. They want it to be a simple decision. They don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about it. So I tell guys, if you really want to look great, especially now, and I know you guys are going to be doing dating, especially if you're going out in the dating world, you want to make an impression. You don't want to be that loudmouth trying to get everybody to listen to you when you talk. You want to be that guy that walks in a room and everybody turns their head. The best way to do it is keep it simple, get a professional, a clother. You can start by looking at mannequins in the store because a professional has dressed them. But really, the ideal situation is to get a clother who knows their stuff and can help you put it together. It's a lot easier than you think.
So do we always have to get it? Because I saw a post go up. Do we always have to get an approval from our lady on how to dress before we go out?
Well, most of a large majority, and I think, Carmen, you can attest to this, a large majority of men will always say, my wife picks out my clothes, or my girlfriend picks out my clothes.
Right.
And I can tell you that I have never had anyone pick out my clothes, and I have never failed to get a compliment when I walk in the room. So do you want to be the guy that somebody makes, or do you want to be the guy that somebody wants to be like?
Very interesting stuff to think about here.
Well, Daniel, again, thank you very much. We wish you were here, but Daniel's our VP of operations out in Atlanta. I don't want to ship you out south that quick. In Long Island, and it's always a pleasure, and we're looking forward to next week's Love It or Lose It with Daniel M.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel.
It'll be fun. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, have a good one. Somebody there's a comment here that I think is pretty interesting. Anthony says, maybe if you're the Wicked Witch of the East, you can wear those stockings.
Come on.
I mean, that's what it kind of reminded me of, Anthony. I was searching for it. I couldn't figure out what the joke was, but that's the closest thing to it. Well, I think hers were just 2 colors, but still.
Well, I won't melt if you put water on me.
Which one is it again?
I can tell you that one. No, I think she wore socks like this, the Argyle socks. Or
No,
was
she
that
didn't
her?
wear the Argyles. No, those are classy. These. This is what you're talking about here. And no,
Well,
Matt,
tell
I
her
did
I
not
want
get
my-
this off the mannequin at Kmart. I got it from him.
It would never fit him from a mannequin.
Yeah. It would be that fat guy in a little coat.
So does anybody have any questions before we go to another quick break and get to
No, let's just go right in.
segment?
Let's just go right into the gentleman's.
You wanna go right
Let's
into
go
the
right
gentleman's
into
club?
it. We got people saying, "When's the dating talk? When's the dating talk?"
They were saying that?
Yeah, yeah.
You're more interested in dating than learning about clothing.
Well, it was
What the heck?
it was Matt.
All right.
You know.
So
All right. So what?
nobody has given us an answer, a true definitive answer
Well, now's the time.
on this question.
Yes.
Right?
What's the question?
On your first date. Now you've never met the person before, you've talked to the person.
Right.
But you never had
Physical
face-to-face contact.
face-to-face contact. Yes. Right.
So now you don't know if it's a great meet or a semi-meet. I'm a firm believer in, you know what? Drinks the first time, see if you like each other, then maybe dinner.
See, I've done both, and drinks the first time. The first time I did that, it turned into a relationship. That was horrible. And then most other times I do dinner first, because that's just I don't know. To me, that just seems the way it should be. You go out, you have dinner, you sit, you talk, you eat, you enjoy the food, and for some reason, a table where you're facing each other is a little more intimate to me than a bar is. And you know, like a bar, there's other distractions. There's somebody behind you. There's somebody behind her. He bumps into her. You end up getting in a fight. You know.
Listen, I'll agree to that. I'll
me?
agree with you on
Okay.
that. Here's my dilemma, right? And as guys, and maybe we won't admit it, but if we go out to dinner with a girl, we wind up being on our best behavior.
Sure.
So
And they
you're
are
not.
too.
So you're not seeing right. So you're
Right.
not seeing the real.
No.
So it's basically a lie on the first date.
Okay. Yes. But then again, the first maybe 3 months are a complete lie, because you're in that honeymoon phase, and you're on your best behavior for a good long while after that first date. But I think what it does is it shows the woman, and she shows us how, when we have to behave ourselves, when we have to go to something formal, or when we have to be romantic or whatever, what we're capable of and what we're able to do. And then of course we forget it, but you know, once in a while a special occasion comes up. You know, she gets in a car accident the day before your anniversary, and then you remember how to be romantic to make it extra special,
Right.
so she doesn't feel so bad. She knows you can do that. It's just that, you know, let's be real. It's hard to do all the time. You can't.
Frank brought up a good point, and I agree. You don't go to a dive bar, right, on the first date.
Well, why not?
You know, you don't go for the $4 martini bar type. You know, that they don't even
No.
put a martini in a martini glass.
Right.
Because if you are having a good time, then you can sit and maybe have appetizers and keep.
See, but here's what I've found is more common for me. Dinner first, really enjoy each other. Dinner's over, you pay the check. You don't want to be a jerk and take up this guy's table so you can't make money off of it. And you want to keep going, walk over to the bar.
So you're a
now
dinner first guy.
I'm a dinner first guy. Yeah. And I've done both.
God bless you.
I've done both.
So wait, so you get a better response
Yes.
when going on a date at dinner first. But now, do you take them to a Peter Luger's?
The last time I was at Peter Luger's, it was such a journey to get over there. I said, forget this again. No, I'll take them somewhere decent. I mean, I'm not going to first date, I'm not going to go to some super fancy place.
So what do you guys think out there? How many people do we say, make a comment real quick, either drink or dinner? Let's see how many males actually say
Yeah.
dinner versus meal.
Right.
And White Castle is not a place to go. And Sandra, we do
Friday.
not do Burger King with liquor.
Sandy
It's
says
not,
Fridays.
It's not good. But you didn't say dinner or drink.
Right. Not where are you going? What are you doing?
Thank you, Ralph. Oh, we didn't even think coffee. We'll consider coffee a drink.
I think we said coffee last week. I'm not totally sure, but I think that's what we said. We did, right, Pete? Yeah.
Drink or coffee.
It was drink or coffee.
Why not drinks? Why
what
drop
about that?
Big bucks.
How about that, though?
If she can't even hold your attention, that's true, right? Frank says drinks.
But you don't know, Frank. You don't know if she can hold your attention until you sit down with her at that table. And, Frank, she is also your captive audience. I mean, that's really what it's about. At the bar, there's too many distractions. Sitting at a table face to face, she's got nothing to do but pay attention to what I have to say.
Or she's on her cell phone texting.
Well, that's fine. Okay. Well, good. Then if she is, then I know that this isn't going to last very long. You know?
So all right. So we have some fools with the sex comment, but the question was drink or dinner.
Lori just said something really nice. Sorry to interrupt you there, Carmen.
What's this?
She says, I'm finding this very interesting. You guys are making me smile, but from people that I know, the date dinner is always the way to go.
So I would ask, why do we say that? And the only
It's not
reason
too
I
formal,
bring
Frank.
and,
Go to Burger
look,
King.
It's right. It's okay to go. What I hear from friends of mine who are in the dating scene, they're like, she made me take her to this really nice place.
Well, what's this made me take her stuff? You say, I want to take you here.
Well, a lot of girls TGI Fridays doesn't cut it for them.
Well, that apparently Sandy does. Sandy's the one that said Fridays. No, first of all,
She loves Fridays for the tequila.
You never go to a theme park restaurant like Fridays.
How about a swingers club? Now that'll bring out people's personality.
Well, you know of any? No. But listen, you go to Fridays, someplace like that. I wouldn't want to go out with the girl that would want to go out with me a second time after taking her to Fridays on the first date. Nor would I if the girl suggested
what kind of place are you talking about?
I'm talking about a mom and
like
pop.
the Nutley Diner?
No. There's a place out here in Randolph that's pretty cool called The Barn. It sounds bad, but it's a nice restaurant. They own a couple of other restaurants. Cinder's is one of them.
So you're talking about a mediocre type
like
of...
a middle, yeah.
But can you still be yourself?
I can always be myself.
People think I'm a little sarcastic.
Oh yeah, I get that. No, I get that too.
But you're trying to be on your best behavior while you're having dinner. I agree. She's sitting there saying you're sitting there saying the first 2 months are a lie, but why not upfront?
They're not a lie. They're an exaggeration. You're exaggerating your good qualities to show her and for her to show you that this is how good I can be. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a lie. It's just an exaggeration because it's still there. It's still part of you. And yeah, I can be myself. But you see, at this age where I am, I'm 32 years old.
God bless you.
38.
I'm 13 years. Oh, I got a lot more years on you.
Yeah.
I hide the grades.
I'm 38 years old. At this point, I am so tired of the relationship game and the whole the BS, the what do you call it? The courting phase where you have to pretend and you got to do all this stuff. I would rather be rejected for a second date because I was myself and she didn't like that than to stick with her for 3 months and in the 4th month I start being myself and she's like, "Who's this guy?"
Yeah.
So I belch really loud on the first date.
So wait, what about you just brought up courting?
Yeah.
Why can't the male get courted?
They can now.
But that doesn't happen.
Because women still like to
They
be
want you
treated
to
like
open
a woman.
the door.
Yes.
The old Godfather thing, or what was that from?
What? Give me more.
He was in the car. Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale. Oh yeah.
She's a good girl if she opens the door for you.
Yep.
I'll tell you, all the years I was dating, maybe 5 opened the door for me.
But you know how that is true? That is true. Because all the girls that I would consider to be the good girls that I dated,
right,
they would do that stuff.
So there's good girls out there for everybody to know.
There are good girls out there. The problem is finding a sane one. That's the problem. Oh.
This is from 2 guys talking, so I don't know if that's. I don't know if
let's get some lesbians.
I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's a good way to keep the debate going.
No, look. I got in this discussion the other day with a woman, and I had mentioned that somebody that I had dated in the past was crazy, and she goes, "Oh, all men say that," and I go, "No, but when I say crazy, I mean literally certifiably insane, or at least with some real issues that she needs to see a shrink for, right?" But she said, "Well, we all think men are crazy too," and I'm like, "Yeah." Because what we're saying is crazy, like normal male, female crazy, is just the fundamental difference between the sexes, right? What we don't think the same,
right?
But women, I don't care what anybody says. Women, if you're in a close relationship, like a serious relationship with a woman, they're the boss.
Pretty much.
Because they control the sex. And that's what it's all about for men, right?
Right.
So you end up doing whatever the woman says, even though logically it makes no sense at all. And you end up doing it your way. Eventually, once she comes around to see that her way doesn't work,
it just takes you time.
it just takes time. And you got to do that. And that's how the game is played. A relationship, when it's real and when it's ongoing, is a game already. So that's why I have no patience for the game part of the first couple of months.
And I don't, and you know what? When you think about it, most guys in our generation, you're right. You know, you're 38, I'm 45. Most guys don't have the tolerance for it because they're in their careers, right? They're set in their independent ways,
right? Oh yeah.
Right? They don't always do things the proper way, but they wait it out until they can prove, in fact, that their way is the right way when it comes to women.
Right. And those are the guys that die alone eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll be one of those guys who has a grave all to himself.
So how many people out there, we got like 14 people out here. How many of you guys have patience for the game?
Michelle has no patience. Michelle, what's your number?
And honestly, how many of you women out there truly believe that women are always right no matter what?
Well, of course they're all gonna say it's true.
But I want to see.
You want to see
say
how,
that,
okay?
Because then we can
get them on record.
Yes, then we get you all on record. I see nobody's responding because they're afraid to respond.
Well, let me ask you this: like the women that have no patience for the game, Michelle. Let's ask you directly: if a guy comes up to you and says, "Yeah, look, here's the deal. I have this this business that I just started, so my time is very limited. But you know, I'm very stressed, and sex is a great stress reliever. And right now, I'm just looking for a friend with benefits." What would you say to a guy if you were attracted to the guy? What would you say to him? Would you say, "Oh, you know what? I'm actually looking for the same thing." If you are. Or, you know, would you be like, blah, blah, blah. Like, to me, that's cutting the game out, is being very upfront with what you're looking for. And if it doesn't work, then you move on and find somebody it'll work with. So we'll see what she says when she comes back.
And while we're waiting for her answer, Matt keeps asking us to ask him a question. So Matt.
All right, why are you so annoying, Matt?
What is the proper way to treat a woman on a date?
Oh, God.
And yes, statistically, women these days are worse than men when it comes to cheating.
I've been reading that. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
You would think you
man,
would
feminism.
think differently. You would think differently.
No, I wouldn't.
I don't think Michelle has an answer for us.
I think Michelle
Ah,
probably
there
left.
she goes.
Oh, what
I
did she
can't do
say?
it. LOL. Although I love sex, I need some form of commitment. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe, you know, you never know, Michelle. It could turn into something if you just give him a chance.
Everybody.
Send me your number anyway.
Everybody assumes that that every guy out there, right, when you get them on the first date, the assumption is they want to get in my pants. Now, mentally for a guy, probably yes.
Wait, you mean on the first date? Like specifically on the first date, they want to get in your
Absolutely.
pants?
Absolutely.
You know, what age are we talking? All ages?
I would probably say 25 to their 40s. Yeah.
Okay. I guess it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking to find a wife and have a family, maybe not, because you know that that's not going to last much longer if you bang her on the first date, right?
Never. It probably won't.
It won't. Right. So if you're looking for something serious and lifelong or whatever, then you wait.
But is that a reality nowadays? Is there a such thing as lifelong?
Of course there are. Of course there are. It takes all kinds.
No, I'm sure it does.
There may not be a lot of them. They may not be in our area, but they're
out
out there.
west.
They're out there. They're out there somewhere.
What does Katy Perry say? California girls. Well, guys, that does it for tonight's show. We hope you had a good time. We had a great time.
Yes, we did. It was fun. It was nice interacting with you guys during the Gentlemen's Club.
So, and here's the thing is, and I mentioned it last week. If you like what you see, please share it and like it.
Yes.
At the end of the month, we're going to randomly pick somebody. If we see 100 live viewers, we're going to randomly pick somebody from that day. If we can get up to 100 views at a time, and you'll get a gift packet from Buco Couture. I'm not telling you what it is, but we will send you a gift. So please like us, share us, and invite your friends and family if you like what we're doing, and please give us your input. We want to make the show for you.
And also, if you've got an iPhone, you got that little podcast app that comes with it. Look for the show on iTunes or on the podcast app. You can listen to it there as well if you're on the go. Or you can, we'll eventually have it on other places and we'll tell you later on. But yeah. But
Yeah,
the main
it'll
thing
always
is
be
like and
streaming
share,
on-
like and share, like and share. Let everybody know.
Yes, so you'll see an appointment for next week. And Matt, we have a special guest next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Have a special guest next week. We've got Maureen Tara Nelson of MTN Matchmaking.
And I think she's going to be talking about
matchmaking.
And no, I think she was in it. Well, yes, about matchmaking,
Yeah.
but I think there was something else that she was going to talk about.
Well, we're just gonna have to tune in next week to find out what.
I like that idea. So we're not going to tell you exactly
Yeah.
what she's going to talk about.
But it's good. If you were interested in the dating segment or the Gentleman's Club segment of this show, then you'll want to tune in next week because we're going to have an interview with her at the beginning of the show. And we'll be talking about all those things, dating, matchmaking, how that'll work. I'm fascinated to know how matchmaking works.
I'll tell you what, I actually am too.
Because, I mean, and what the success rate is. Like, how many of those relationships turn into something bigger?
So that'll fall into the Gentleman's Club. So we'll probably do Love It and List It, or Love It and Listed, Jesus. Love It or Lose It after that segment.
Okay.
So if you want to see the do's and don'ts again next week, make sure you tune in next week as well. So, and remember to tell everybody, it's Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks again, guys. Have a blessed evening.